Have you noticed how it's getting harder to find calm and positivity amid the chaos of modern life? We're surrounded by daily pressures at work, on social media, and even in our relationships. It feels like being at peace has become a luxury. But what if I told you that the secret to staying calm and balanced is within reach, and it doesn't involve running away or avoiding responsibilities? It sounds counterintuitive, right? The truth is that ancient Buddhist wisdom teaches us something powerful. It's possible to turn chaos into serenity, no matter what's happening around you. And it can happen faster than you might think, with just a few simple practices. Are you curious to find out how? Nanda was known for being a dedicated gardener. His hands worked with precision, but his mind was stuck in thoughts of the past and future. With each planting, he found himself remembering missed opportunities or worrying about what was to come. Isn't it curious how often we focus on physical tasks while forgetting to care for our minds? In Nanda's case, his outer garden flourished, but his inner garden was stifled. How often have you felt that disconnection between what you do and what you feel? What Nanda didn't realize was that his constant worrying was stealing his inner peace. As his mind wandered, he grew distant from the present, missing out on the serenity that was within his reach. Just as plants need regular care, so does our mind. A practical solution you can start applying is to set aside a few minutes daily to simply observe your breath, like a gardener watching his plants grow. Believe it or not, the simple act of being present can completely change your relationship with the world around you. But Nanda was far from understanding this on his own. His mind was so full of noise that he couldn't even imagine what it would be like to live with inner silence. Have you ever wondered what's stifling your inner garden? This was the restlessness he carried every day, unaware of its impact on his life. And this is when something unexpected happened, the arrival of a wise monk who would forever change his view on what it truly means to take care of oneself. The monk who visited Nanda was a man of few words, but each one carried deep wisdom. Observing Nanda's garden, he made a simple analogy. Just as you care for this garden, you must care for your inner garden. These words echoed in Nanda's mind, sparking a reflection on what he was truly cultivating within himself. The monk explained that cultivating the mind follows the same principle. The seeds we plant are our thoughts. If we plant negativity and worry, that's what will bloom. From that moment, Nanda started realizing that the key to transforming his life was to cultivate different seeds: positivity, gratitude, and serenity. The monk suggested a simple practice that Nanda could adopt. Upon waking, before starting his work in the physical garden, he should meditate for a few minutes, bringing to mind thoughts of gratitude. Gratitude is the water that helps these new seeds grow, the monk said. And just like a plant needs daily watering, these thoughts needed daily nurturing. Have you ever tried starting your day by giving thanks for the small things? This shift in perspective made Nanda wonder, what else can I change in my inner garden? He began to understand that silence and meditation could be the tools to help him cultivate a more serene, transformative life. Each meditation session was like planting a new seed of inner peace. But like any good garden, this process would require patience and dedication. Nanda was about to embark on a journey of self-discovery, guided by the monk's wisdom, a journey that would lead him to a new understanding of the power of being present. The monk taught Nanda a fundamental concept, the practice of mindfulness. He explained that living in the present means being fully immersed in each task, without being pulled by the past or anxious about the future. For Nanda, This idea seemed simple but challenging. How can I let go of all my worries? He wondered. The monk, however, showed him a clear path. The key was in learning to observe without clinging to thoughts. It's like tending to a plant. You water it, but you can't control how much it grows in the moment. Similarly, you observe your thoughts without letting them take over your mind. Nanda began practicing mindfulness during his daily activities. When he trimmed a leaf or watered a flower, he focused all his energy on that simple action. When his mind started to wander, he gently brought it back to the present, just as the monk had taught him. If you want to try mindfulness, start with small things. When washing dishes, feel the water on your hands. When walking, observe each step carefully. The goal isn't to block thoughts, but to let them pass like clouds in the sky, without judgment, just with calm. The practice of mindfulness brought a significant change to Nanda's life. He noticed that by focusing on the present, his stress levels decreased and his mind calmed down. Each action became an opportunity for moving meditation. But this practice required consistency, much like tending to a garden. Over time, Nanda began to notice the first signs of inner transformation. But the monk still had more teachings to share, something essential for the next step in Nanda's journey. One of the most impactful lessons the monk brought to Nanda was the transformative power of gratitude. He explained that when you're grateful for small things, like the warmth of the sun or a gentle breeze, you start to see the world with new eyes. For Nanda, this was eye-opening. He realized that while he spent his days focused on what was missing, he missed appreciating what he already had. The monk challenged him to find something to be grateful for every morning, no matter how simple. This simple act of gratitude is what plants the seeds of happiness, even in the most challenging times. Nanda began to notice the difference this made in his life. Each time he gave thanks for the sun that nourished his plants or the rain that refreshed them, he felt a weight lift off his shoulders. Seats. Gratitude became a practical tool for Nanda to handle daily challenges. When life felt uncertain, he turned to gratitude and found a new perspective. Have you tried this power? Starting a gratitude journal, writing down 3 things you're grateful for each night, can be a good exercise. It's a simple way to shift your worldview and bring calm into your day. But Nanda realized that gratitude wasn't just a mental practice. It needed to be applied in all areas of life. He began to give thanks for the growth opportunities that arose from difficulties, understanding that the challenges he faced were like stepping stones on his path to self-discovery. Over time, he began to see that gratitude wasn't just about what he received, but about how he related to what he had. And so, his inner garden blossomed with the same abundance as his outer garden. However, the monk still had more important lessons for Nanda about how to nurture his mind and heart. The monk knew that Nanda was still facing a major inner barrier. He was very hard on himself. While he tended his garden with love, he didn't do the same for his mind and heart. The monk taught him that just as we offer compassion to others, we must also offer it to ourselves. Treat yourself with the same kindness you give to the flowers you grow, said the monk. This concept of self-compassion was a revelation for Nanda, who often blamed himself for his mistakes and imperfections. But just as plants need their own time to bloom, we too must be patient with our own growth. Nanda's self-compassion practice began with small gestures. Each time he caught himself being self-critical, he paused and remembered the monk's words, "Be kind." He learned to handle his negative thoughts gently, instead of fighting against them. A practical example the monk suggested was using positive affirmations like "I am doing my best" or "I deserve compassion." These small phrases act like water for the seeds of self-compassion, helping them grow day by day. You might try something similar whenever you feel overly critical of yourself. Over time, Nanda noticed that as he practiced self-compassion, his mind became lighter and his heart more open. He stopped pushing himself so hard and started accepting his imperfections as part of his self-discovery process. But this acceptance didn't happen overnight. Just as his garden didn't flourish in a single day, his inner transformation also took time. And as Nanda walked this path toward inner peace and serenity, he knew that self-compassion would be an essential ally. The monk still had more valuable teachings to share, and Nanda was ready to apply them. Over time, Nanda realized that something profound was changing within him. The outer garden he tended so carefully was now a reflection of his inner garden, where seeds of gratitude, mindfulness, and self-compassion bloomed daily. The inner transformation the monk had spoken of was beginning to manifest practically in his life. Nanda felt an inner peace that once seemed out of reach. Not that his problems had disappeared, but his relationship with them had changed. He now understood that true transformation doesn't come from controlling what happens around us, but from cultivating serenity within. This change was visible not only in his mind but also in his actions. Nanda began facing life's challenges with more wisdom and calm. With each new obstacle, he remembered the monk's teachings. It's in silence that we find answers. Instead of reacting impulsively, he adopted the practice of meditating before making any major decisions. This brought new clarity and depth to his life. If you want to experience this transformation, start by setting aside a few minutes each day to meditate in silence without expectations, simply observing yourself. Over time, you'll notice that this small habit can bring about big changes. Nanda knew that his journey was still at its beginning, but the fruits of his inner transformation were evident. He had found an endless source of peace and serenity, regardless of external circumstances. Each day was an opportunity to deepen this connection with himself, and he was committed to continuing to cultivate his inner garden. The monk, seeing this change, knew that Nanda had learned the most important lesson. True happiness and wisdom come not from the outside, but from what we cultivate within. And so, Nanda continued on his journey, aware that inner transformation is a continuous process. Now that you've discovered these powerful teachings, the big question is, what will you do with them? The calm and positivity you seek are just a few practices away. If you truly want to transform your life, start applying these teachings to your daily routine. Have you thought about how meditation could help you handle stress, or how gratitude could change your perspective in challenging moments? Remember, it's not the world around you that needs to change. It's how you respond to it. Are you ready to take that first step? Then, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to keep learning more about living a life with greater serenity and wisdom.